bit of a nesting journey. It's the first nesting vlog in this series, and I am talking all about organization and home organization and my top practical and realistic 3 tips. Now, if you're not nesting, this video is still great for you because these organization tips are not specific to baby items. They're not specific to a stage of nesting. They are just practical and realistic so that you can actually make some headway on your organization goals. That also being said, if you are in your first trimester of pregnancy and you are in the throes of morning sickness, please find another video to watch. You are sick, you need to put your feet up and relax. And if you don't feel like doing any of this right now and you wonder when you're ever going to feel like doing it, please do not fear. You will feel like it eventually. You will feel like nesting and getting your home ready. And if you're sick the whole time, you're sick the whole time. And then you will nest around your baby and you are a strong mama. So my heart just goes out to everyone that is going through that period or goes through that period for an extended period of time throughout their whole pregnancy. Morning sickness is no fun. Nesting is a really fun stage, and it will happen for everyone eventually. So as I said previously, my organization tips are very practical and realistic. My mom has taught me so much about organization and homemaking, and they have so many antiques. They're obsessed with old stuff. They have lots of sentimental stuff as well. And it's very curated. And there is a difference between having a maximalist decor style and then there being clutter. And my mom has always seemed to strike this balance and keep things between the rails. So I have always had a good insight into organization and making sure that I didn't have to absolutely live minimalist with no extra stuff, but also my stuff was clean and everything had a home and I was able to enjoy my space. So here's what she taught me. Number 1, don't ever expect for one room to be a one and done project. You will have to come back to your organized spaces time and time again. You have to keep up with them. That's the name of the game in home organization, keeping up with things. I recently did a closet purge. You'll see it in this video, but I know that I have to go through my clothing a few times a year. One time a year doesn't even cut it. I need to make sure I'm consistently looking through things so that a huge purge of all of my things only has to happen once a year or once every 2 years. However, going through things is different than purging. Purging, you take everything out and you decide what goes back in a lot of times, but going through things just takes a quick look over, maybe 15 minutes on a Saturday or a morning before you have to get somewhere. And then you leave out a donation bag and it's done. But you have to do this periodically in order to keep up the hard work you've put into particular spaces. Number 2, your first step is not to go to the store and buy a bunch of organizers and bins and pretty clear containers. You need to hold off on that. This actually happened in our closet recently. We had so many bins that I had no clue about. So I was able to use what we already had to store our items. Things like seasonal things like towels, just things that needed contained in bins. I was able to put in there and I wasn't spending a lot of unnecessary money. And when I know that I do need organizers, I go to Dollar Tree first. They have such great prices on organizers, and at other stores, you can end up spending so much money. You could end up spending $100 on a few bins, and if you think that that is going to motivate you to clean a space out, you have another thing coming. And number 3, my third and final tip is to start with smaller projects. If you think you're going to tackle the kitchen or an office space in one day, I'd advise you to start smaller. So this actually happened in our kitchen the other day. I decided I'm not going to do the whole kitchen. I am just going to do a few drawers, cabinets, and a fridge. I didn't choose all of them, and I really narrowed down my focus, and it really worked for me. I ended up having a whole drawer cleaned out, cleared for bottles and feeding supplies, which made me feel a whole lot better. Then I went on to the fridge. And in the fridge, I took everything out, purged it, absolutely, cleaned all the shelves, and instead of getting, again, fancy fridge organizers that are beautiful and totally impractical, I just labeled the shelves and the drawers with chalk markers. And you can find the link for my chalk markers in the description. But this just sparks a little bit of extra joy, makes the fridge a little bit more beautiful, and also just gives it some direction and organization. So when I ask my husband for the barbecue sauce, he doesn't have to look for a while. He can just look on the shelf that says sauces. So those are my top organization tips for nesting, making space for your baby in your home, and also just, even if you're not nesting, making sure that your organization is realistic and practical. It does not have to look like the Home Edit. It does not have to look like Pinterest or a magazine, but you will find that your organization is eye-pleasing and also does achieve some aesthetic goals, even when you don't spend the money on those beautiful clear containers or do everything all at once. Realistic and practical is always the answer when it comes to organization, so I really hope that this inspires you as well. Thank you so much for watching Melody and Grit, and I'll see you in the next video. So I saw on Instagram, or maybe it was TikTok, I don't know. There was a reel or TikTok of this woman who was pregnant, and she was undoing a garbage bag, and it said there's nothing more dangerous than a woman in her 3rd trimester with a garbage bag, and I have to agree. Things are gonna get dangerous up in here. So believe it or not, this entire thing is almost all socks, and I don't think hardly any of them match, so it's some real